As the 2026 World Cup kicks off in North America, Portuguese media is desperately trying to sell you the ultimate footballing fairy tale, and right on cue, the 41-year-old immortal Cristiano Ronaldo is preparing for his historic 6th World Cup campaign. This is an unprecedented milestone in men's football history. They spin an epic Netflix-style fantasy about the final golden piece, carrying CR7 to lift the prestigious trophy, cementing his legacy. Some dreamers are even whispering about the prospect of him playing in the 2030 World Cup at age 45, when it will be co-hosted by Portugal itself. Sounds so poetic, heartwarming, and cinematic, doesn't it? But behind this marketing mirage, the tactical reality is far colder. Because in reality, make no mistake about it, this is nothing more than a commercial circus, staged by sponsors, media partners, and a manager whose smile never fades. Today on HypeBuster FC, we do not sell dreams. We use most cold data, tactical boards, and raw truths to expose the tactical disaster that will bury Portugal's golden generation long before they even touch the pitch in North America. Let's start with the one thing Portuguese fans can't stop bragging about. On our qualifying run at our 2025 Nations League trophy, on our My HypeBuster Hype Index, this run scored a perfect 10 out of 10.
I said, hold up, wait a minute.
Have you actually looked at the Mies teams they played? Liechtenstein, Luxembourg, Bosnia, and names that sound more like a budget European vacation itinerary than actual footballing powerhouses. This is a masterclass in the stat padding against teams so weak that even a mediocre mid-table striker could bag a hat trick with his eyes closed. But the moment they face a Briop's organized defensive block, their shiny mask crumbles. Look no further than their unconvincing 2-0 defeat against the Republic of Ireland on November 13th, 2025. The truth only comes out when we look at the data against big teams. Opta data from Euro 2024 is a slap in the face to this illusion. Ronaldo took 23 shots and racked up a massive 3.52 expected goals and ended the tournament with exactly 0 goals. In those games, our favorite poster boy pulls off his signature trick, a complete disappearing act. CR7's dual success rate plummeted to a meager 35% when facing disciplined defenses like France or Slovenia, and his pressing distance, virtually 0. But the disaster doesn't stop at the striker position. Look at their superstar playmaker, Bruno Fernandes, the man who just swept the Premier League Player of the Season for 2025, won the FWA Footballer of the Year, and shattered the Premier League historical record with 21 assists for Manchester United. A world-class playmaker with some of the highest tactical IQ in England turns into a mod delivery machine for the opponent when playing for the national team, losing possession a staggering 40 times in a single match against Slovenia. 40 times.
Are you kidding me?
He is officially on fraud watch. Why? Because when a playmaker is forced into a more tactical system, that frustration and physical exhaustion turn a genius into a malleability. Portugal is playing like a paper giant wrapped in a shiny, expensive package. But deep inside, the core is being completely mind-hollowed out by a system built solely to cater to a 41-year-old deadweight who simply cannot cope with modern high-intensity football. And if you think those disasters are ancient history, just look at their final warm-up matches. First, a scraping 2-1 win against Chile on June 6th, where Ronaldo walked for 90 minutes, leaving only a Paris disallowed offside goal, and Rafael picked up a straight red card. Then, just yesterday on June 10th, another unconvincing 2-1 struggle against Nigeria. Ronaldo started, did absolutely nothing for 65 minutes, and was subbed off for Gonçalo Ramos, while youngsters Pedro, Neto, and Francisco Conceição had to save the day. Why was Gonçalo Ramos on the bench in the first place? Because Ramos has been struggling for form and was dropped by Luis Enrique PSG, who preferred using Dembele as a false 9. When your primary alternative striker is starved of confidence at club level, Martinez is left with 0 options, a complete tactical and disciplinary message soon just days before the World Cup kicks off, to understand how this disaster unfolds on the pitch. Let's take a look at our exclusive tactical board. right here, we have our central striker prominently and fittingly labeled the 41-year-old deadweight. Sure, he's a goal-scoring machine who just helped Al Nassr win the Saudi Pro League title in May 2026. But let's be real, scoring in the retirement-paced league of Saudi Arabia is a completely different world from facing the suffocating intensity of world-class center backs at the biggest tournament on earth. And patrolling the touchline have the Honorable Roberto Martinez, a vibe merchant and a corporate puppet who changes the color of his suit, but never the course of the match. To ensure the 41-year-old deadweight remains the main center of attention without having to break a single sweat pressing, Martinez has designed a warped tactical system. On the right wing, we have Bernardo Silva, the star pupil of Pep Guardiola's class at Man City, who seems to lose his instruction manual when playing for the national team. Instead of progressing the ball on the flank, Bernardo cuts inside to occupy the right half space. This completely steps on the toes of Bruno Fernandes, who desperately needs that exact space to create. When you force two genius minds to crowd into the same square meter, they end up suffocating each other. On top of that, having our 41-year-old deadweight CR7 walking circles up front allows the opponent's defense to collapse inward, suffocating any remaining passing lanes. On the left wing, we have Rafael Leao, a supercar with a battery defect. Leao got 2 yellow cards for simulation of first 2 group games at Euro 2024, sembled the point to missing the Georgia match due to suspension. When he doesn't work back defensively, he treats the left wing like a mall on the fashion runway. This lazy wing play forces Vitinha and Bruno Fernandes to cover massive space, leaving a yawning chasm on the right side, which we like to call the Manes counterattack highway. Any opponent with a winger of even average pace can transform Portugal's right side into their personal track and field event. But the true disaster lies in their defensive transition. Ever since Pepe retired, Portugal has lost their defensive anchor. Ruben Dias has spent a chunk of the season injured at Manchester City, and his young replacements, Gonçalo Inacio and Tomás Araujo, are completely untested at this level. Against elite wingers, this defensive line will collapse. When Portugal loses possession, our young midfield engine, Vitinha and Bruno Fernandes, have to run themselves into the ground, sprinting back twice the distance just to plug the massive gaps left by this setup. They are running like sports cars with bad broken brakes. While Ronaldo is doing what? He is enjoying a leisurely sunset stroll in the center circle, occasionally throwing his hands up in absolute disgust because a teammate's pass wasn't millimeter perfect. This is not elite 21st century football. This is a Marin's retirement home project, broadcast live to billions of viewers. This system forces some of the most creative midfielders in the world to play as garbage collectors, all just to accommodate a main tactical liability who is way past his prime. So the burning question is, why? Why would a manager who once coached Belgium's golden generation accept such a compromise course? The answer lies in the drama-fueled backstage and massive commercial contracts. Look at the bloody precedent of Fernando Santos at the 2022 World Cup. He was brave enough to bench Ronaldo against Switzerland, but after a single defeat to Morocco, his job vanished instantly under pressure from CR7's family and public fury. Martinez is far too clever to miss that lesson. That's why, even when Ronaldo suffered a hamstring injury in early 2026 and missed key friendlies, his starting spot at the upcoming World Cup remains set in stone. To protect his own managerial seat, Martinez committed the ultimate tactical crime, benching Gonçalo Ramos. Lest we forget, Ramos is the exact same player who dropped a clinical hat-trick against Switzerland the minute Fernando Santos had the balls to bench Ronaldo at the 2022 World Cup. Make no mistake about it, this is a tactical compromise driven by self-preservation, and the entire team is paying the price. And when the inevitable disaster strikes, and Portugal is knocked out, the system already has a familiar script ready to run. The ones taking the fall will be poor young talents like Gonçalo Ramos, or, worst of all, João Felix, the ultimate poster boy for price inflation. The legendary 127 million euro transfer is now just a mind ghost floating between loan spells. Felix represents the perfect metaphor for Portugal's self-destruction, benched for the entire tournament, only to be thrown into a life-or-death moment to act as a hero, where he immediately fulfills his duty by hitting the post in the Euro 2024 penalty shootout against France. Felix is thrown into high-pressure moments without proper tactical rhythm, making him the commercial scapegoat not sent on to absorb the media backlash, shielding Martinez and the corporate sponsors from their systemic tactical failures. Even the Opta supercomputer, after running millions of simulations, only gives Portugal a measly 7.1% chance of winning the tournament, a pathetic probability ranking behind several other struggling giants. History loves to repeat itself, and Portugal's fate at the My 2026 World Cup is already written. At the 2014 World Cup in Brazil, they got grouped with Germany, the United States, and Ghana crashing out early. This time, they will face immense struggles right from the group stage against DR Congo, Uzbekistan, and especially Colombia. Here is our prophecy, a team acting like the My Brazilians of Europe, all led by a vibe merchant of a manager and anchored by a starting 41-year-old deadweight, will crash out humiliatingly in the round of 16 against any disciplined, pragmatic opponent. The Ronaldo era will end not with a neat, shiny golden trophy, but with helpless tears and a bitter tidal wave of criticism. Never do I listen, no. It's your turn. Drop your comments down below. Type hashtag preservation if you still believe in Ronaldo's magic and Martinez's tactical adaptation. Type hashtag self-destruct if you think this golden generation is doomed to be buried by a system built around a single ego. And here is a brain-teasing question for all you couch tacticians. If Portugal reaches the knockout stages and finds themselves stuck, will Martinez dare to bench Ronaldo like Fernando Santos did in 2022 to save the team? Or will he choose self-preservation to protect his job and sink with the ship? Drop your sharpest tactical breakdown in the comments. I will pin the most logical and convincing analysis at the top for the community to dissect. But if you think Portugal's setup is broken, trust me, the self-destruction of England's billion-dollar squad under Southgate is far more embarrassing and hilarious. Click on the video on your screen right now, and let's fly over to the UK to see why football is never memorable coming home.